This story was sent to me by Craig J. And let me warn you before I even get into it that this story is very disturbing. And that's not just my words, but it's also the words of the website in which I'm about to read from. Like literally, it says, warning, this report has graphic descriptions of violence. So these two individuals' names are Mary and James Mast, and they are married. But wait until you find out how old they are. But we're going to get there. And this story is coming out of Missouri. It says Missouri parents who watched beating can't go to their quote unquote demon child's funeral. Like that's what they referred to their child as. And I think they had a daughter. And this story has multiple layers to it, but we're going to try and get through all of them. It says the parents who allegedly looked on as their 4-year-old daughter was fatally beaten and dunked in icy water by neighbors bent on removing a perceived demon has been denied permission to attend the child's funeral. And rightfully so. Mary Mast, age 29. Yes, this thing on the right is 29, allegedly. And James Mast, allegedly 28. These two right here are younger than me and look like that. But this one right here on the right, I need to see some kind of a document to prove that that's her actual age. I almost want to see proof if she's actually human because she looks like something off of Men in Black. Of Lincoln, Missouri, pleaded not guilty to child endangerment charges on Monday related to allegations that they allowed their neighbors to conduct a quote-unquote religious type event. It sounds like some kind of an exorcism they tried to perform. The couple's newborn and 2-year-old son were placed into temporary foster care after the Masts were taken into custody, according to a news release by Benton County Sheriff Eric Knox. Neighbors Ethan Mast, age 35, who is no relation to the parents, and Courtney Allman, age 21, were charged with second-degree murder, 3 counts of first-degree assault, and sexual abuse for the child's death last week. Both families are members of the same church, which has not yet been identified. None of the accused have lawyers, according to media reports. I bet you no lawyer wants to touch this case. Officials said Ethan Mast and Allman told investigators that they used a leather belt and a wooden spoon to beat the child and her toddler brother in order to remove the demon, before taking her to a nearby pond on a day that temperatures were barely above freezing. Authorities say James Mast told investigators that the beatings had gone on for around 2 weeks and that they had been forced to perform sexual acts on their 4-year-old with a foreign object, or they would be beaten or go to hell. They say Ethan Mast and Allman watched them on surveillance cameras inside the home, but turned them off when they came over to beat the family they deemed possessed. Ethan Mast and Allman deny the charges and say the videotapes of the couple beating their own children prove their innocence. Wait, let me read that again, just so I'm not confused with what I just read. It said Ethan Mast and Allman deny the charges and said the videotapes of the couple beating their own children prove their innocence. So there's tapes out there of them beating their own kids. According to documents obtained by KRCG, Mary Mast says she also dunked her daughter in the icy pond in an attempt to get rid of her supposed demons after she had been convinced that she too was possessed and that her 4-year-old had essentially inherited the devil from her. When asked why she allowed this to happen, Mary Mast told investigators this has been a huge God thing that they convinced us of. The sheriff's department listed the charges on its Facebook page. Mary was charged with endangering the welfare of a child in the first degree resulting in death, which is a felony A, and domestic assault in the first degree felony A. The Benton County Sheriff's Facebook page states, James is being charged with endangering the welfare of a child in the first degree resulting in death, felony A, and endangering the welfare of a child in the first degree resulting in serious physical injury, felony B. Both individuals are being held without bond until a January 5th bond hearing, the sheriff says. Benton County Sergeant Chris Wilson investigated the scene and wrote in the probable cause statement that he asked the girl's father how he could let people do this to his family, and he stated that they were told his wife had a demon inside her and her children and would end up just like her if it was not taken care of. The sheriff cautioned that the church did not condone the events leading to the child's death. I have received many letters, calls, and emails of concern regarding this child's death and the surrounding circumstances to be the actions of a cult, the sheriff wrote in the news release. During interviews with the investigators and the media, there have been some references to God and demons. The investigation done so far indicates that this is an isolated incident, not the actions of a cult. The dead child was found covered with dark purple bruises and ruptured blisters inside the parental home on December 20th, though it is unclear when the child died. The child's parents and her 2-year-old sibling were also beaten by the neighbors and told police that they were told they would be shot if they tried to intervene. This is one wild ass story right here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video right quick and bring up the pictures of the neighbors. So here's a picture of the neighbors right here, whose name is Courtney Allman. She's the one on the left, and Chris Mast, who's the one on the right. And I'm having a hard time too believing that she's 21. I swear none of them look the ages that they actually do. None of them. But you know, it kind of comes with the territory. But yeah, this is one crazy ass story right here. And I bet you, like many of the others that I do on this kind of scale involving a certain group of people, is not going to get the type of attention that it should. I mean, these individuals right here committed what they deem to be an exorcism, or to the releasing of a possessed entity of a child, by dunking her in icy water, beating her, sexually assaulting her with a foreign object. The parents are no better. Don't think that just because they got beaten on by these two that they're innocent, because they're not, because they allowed it to happen. All of them need to be thrown under the jail and bury them a good 8 feet under, like knock them down a few more feet, because 6 just simply ain't enough. And this goes on in more places than one would think, or in more situations than one would think. But a lot of people don't really address it the way that it should, although it definitely should be something that is addressed. But yeah, this is one crazy ass story right here. And I bet you it happened in a relatively small town. I'm willing to bet it happened in a small town somewhere. The population is probably very, very confined, where everybody knows everybody. But if you are a subscriber of mine and you live in the state of Missouri, I usually always ask this question. But let me know if you've heard about the story. Like, did they even mention this one time on your local news stations? Because if they're not going to put this on a national scale, I know they're going to barely mention it on a local scale. But I'm going to conclude the video right here. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. But before I go any further, it's funny how they always say that black people make some of the worst parents. But look at the stuff that they do with their kids. Look what they did to that girl. Let the neighbors do this to her. And beat the 2-year-old too. Could have killed him or her. I'm not sure if that was a boy or a girl. But I'm going to just leave it right here. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Have your notifications turned on to all.